Thanks for listening to Marketing Evolved podcast with Jason Peterson, Holly Peterson, and Deidre Stevens. During this time, we will bring you some of the current marketing stories and, as always, offer a bit of our unsolicited advice for small and medium-sized businesses based on our industry expertise and knowledge. So if you're listening for the first time, thank you for listening. We're going to give you a little bit of a format rundown. So for those unfamiliar with our podcast, we'll give you a quick refresh. Each segment is timed to make the best use of your time, and each topic to prevent some of us from scurrying down the rabbit hole of tangent land. I will start this week off with two of my favorite things, The Bachelor and marketing. Combined. This is from, so last week, if anyone was living under a rock, The Bachelor had its 2-night finale. Colton picked Cassie.
Boar snore.
Yeah, and they announced the next Bachelorette. But Adweek released an article titled, "How Did the Stars of Bachelor Turn Their Instagram Accounts into QVC on Steroids?" This show basically has turned people into influencers and into like multi-million-dollar influencers. They represent, they hit every demographic. The Bachelor does, and The Bachelorette. There are 75-year-old grandmas who watch The Bachelor, and then you have 25-year-old women who gather with their friends. So, you really have a diverse demographic. What's really cool about a lot of these brands who work with these influencers, they really do see a correlation, a really good ROI with these micro influencers and influencers.
Tell us what ROI stands for.
Return on investment?
Bingo.
Oh, Deidre. Good. And then this article goes on to talk about some successful ones. And then this is what really caught my eye. So her name is Jade Tolbert. They're from Bachelor in Paradise. But she said, who you follow on Instagram often changes depending on where you are in your life. The reasons these stars work out so well for us, and many are also planning to start families of their own or in the near future. These fans and their followers are often in similar life stages, which that really got me thinking like, oh yeah, on my Instagram, I follow a lot of people my age or a little bit older, but they are in my life stages. And yeah, I'm more apt to buy these products because of these influencers, and I really can see myself.
Carly and Evan.
Yeah,
there's something all starts.
I can see myself in these influencers' lives. Like they don't seem like the Kardashians. They're not unattainable.
Right.
They're a realistic. So yeah, I've been a sucker of these influencers. I've totally bought products that they've endorsed. I love The Bachelor, so I've definitely done it. So for you guys, talk about influencers, The Bachelor, however you feel. And you have 3 minutes to discuss.
We watched the Bachelor, Bachelorette franchise. We have watched it for quite some time. Many of them come on not even knowing that they will not make it very far and have no interest in making it far, but have their interest is making just an impact for their own personal brand to be an influencer or to add on to any sort of sway they already have or have already established. So it's kind of ridiculous. Now, what is unfortunate about the Jade, the Tanner, the Carly and Evan stuff, all the other, those are some of the ones that I follow just because I enjoyed their storyline. And Jade is actually from Nebraska originally. But anyway, I feel like every other post is them stumping something. Oh, well, it is a bit frustrating. It's okay. You can only take this so far before people are like, okay, I'm going to shut you off. I don't need to know, every single brand of whitener that you're using for your teeth or what, that this is what you use for fertility. Some of those naturally flow into it. And I know that Carly and Jade have a mommies and babies, podcast or something like that they do too. So it's an opportunity for them to stump things for that complete industry into itself. But yeah, the money they make and just what you can do with just that, what people might think is insignificant is actually quite significant.
And they're not these crazy brands either. Like Crate and Barrel, that's not crazy. Those FabFitFun boxes.
Oh, gosh, I know. I feel like everybody stumps that now.
But that's, the products that they're endorsing are not, I feel unrealistic products that I can see myself actually using. So,
but this is a good topic because it actually speaks to the fact that smaller brands, smaller companies do have an opportunity to use an influencer that's not going to cost them a fortune. I mean, if you think about even some brands within, the Lincoln community, for example, that we live in, there are personalities unique to that community that are highly recognizable, and that could really give some sway to what you're trying to promote for your own brand or your own products or services. So it is something to think about. What you're trying to advertise something that you could benefit from using a local influencer with? So food for thought. Jason, any thoughts on influencers?
I know this was really popular, and I know when the advent of Twitter, we have a business here in town started by Blake Lawrence and Adi Kanalik that was called Open Door, still is around. It was the idea of creating and influencers in the sports industry to make money off of their social media presence. And so, I mean, this isn't anything new. Obviously, Twitter is kind of where it started. I agree with you. There's a point of saturation where I don't know the shelf life of these individuals. Obviously, The Bachelor and Bachelorette is a huge franchise, but there is that point of diminishing returns, like you said, where if it's just salesy, on the one hand, this is the world we live in, where if people know how to leverage their influence, they can make a ton of money on social media, but I don't know. I'm kind of tired of it myself, but I know there's a lot of people that are not.
To me, like Kylie Jenner, the fact that she's the youngest billionaire.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's like what, her makeup line, correct?
I think so.
She had
I think
like
it's
an
like
eye
a
kit.
combo.
Yeah.
No, it's a lip kit.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's a lip kit.
No, I'm a hashtag inspiring influencer right here, Deidre Stevens. No, I'm gonna tell you what though. In regards to The Bachelor, it really depends on the storyline, and unfortunately, that's the sad world we live in. Is how good your storyline is.
Yeah.
So the Jade and Tanner will forever live on because they're probably one good success couple from that show.
Yeah.
But influencers and anyone looking for one.
Yeah, and Paradise in particular. Okay,
Right.
Jason, what's your topic?
Okay, so my topic today is kind of to give some context to the announcement that Zuckerberg made this last week in relationship to privacy, security, and where Facebook is heading. To be quite honest, this is a classic Zuckerberg where he said a lot of things where even for us, I don't really know what he's talking about, or it didn't make a whole lot of sense. But quite frankly, this is in response to the fact that they've kind of created a mess for themselves in how they've handled privacy and, frankly, access to the data that they have from a integration and advertisement perspective. The biggest issue, obviously, has been what we've been dealing with, the election and all that craziness. Now, as I've said many times, I think Zuckerberg still kind of lives in Candyland, and I think this has been a very eye-opening thing for him that he's had to calibrate because he just doesn't relate to the world that we all live in day to day. So his vision is for those that don't know, Facebook also owns Instagram, and they own a international chatting community called WhatsApp. We don't use it as much in the United States, but I know for us, we have employees that live internationally, it's incredibly good. So his vision is that it's going to be more one-to-one messaging, which I don't disagree with. But here's the issue, is that their entire financial model is based on the promoted posts and actually value-added advertising on the Facebook newsfeed. So it seems kind of stupid that they're just going to cut off their legs because they won't make any money. So I don't buy into that. I think this is almost more of a PR angle that he's doing more from a political perspective to sort of deter some of the heavy beatings they've been taking. Now, make no mistake, the only reason we use social for our clients is it's measurable and we're able to account for the ROI. I guess my takeaway is just don't overthink what he says. It tends to be very complicated. He's about privacy, and that's the most important thing.
What's been interesting, though, about the privacy thing is that there are already some changes that are in force with their algorithms. Deidre has even witnessed this with some of the boosting that she's been trying to do with a couple of clients recently, and that is that they are having to augment some of that targeted advertising that we've been able to do. So from a discrimination standpoint, you used to be very specific on who you could target. Like you could get down to like super nitty gritty things as far as like household income, where you are as far as like your walk in life, that sort of thing, religious beliefs, all sorts of things. And those have already started to be tweaked so that when you are doing your targeted advertising, which you can still do, it is a bit more generalized. You are not allowed to target down so much to the point where from a job standpoint or from a housing standpoint, when there's those anti-discriminatory laws, that if it's falling into anything sketchy or shady within those realms, you are not able to do that now. So there are some changes that are enforced, and they're actually implementing that. If you're getting in there now and you're trying to do some of that maybe old targeting that you were trying to do, and you're getting a message back saying, what is it saying, Deidre?
The last one I tried to do, and it was too specific. It
says
not,
too specific?
Yeah, it will not even approve it. It will be like, your ad has not been approved. Your target market is too specific.
So there you go. So I mean, it's coming back with a very generalized message, but that essentially is those changes being implemented for those non-discriminatory type targeted advertising, basically. So if you see that, that's what is going on now. So that is a change that is in force. That's not something that they're sitting on anymore. That has been implemented. Any other thoughts?
It just comes back to that age-old question of what even is private anymore. So he can try all he wants to implement these privacy issues, but we've already kind of put it out there. It's out there. So I
agree.
I applaud him for trying to do this, and I think that he unfortunately got caught in a sticky situation. Everything that happened in the last 3 years of the election and just the world we've lived in has evolved. I don't know. It's tough. It makes our jobs tough. It makes even using the platform that I think he created for something to connect us all, it's gonna ultimately, it could divide us all if he's not careful. So
I don't think because he's so young, he just had no clue of the societal and cultural impact that this was going to have.
But how would you? How would you have known?
You would never know. So
he created a brand new social culture. I'm going
to sound like the history nerd, but Holly and I were talking about this. I want to see the story needs to play out here. I don't think Facebook's just going to disappear. I think things are going to evolve. Obviously, social media is around. I just can't believe that they're not going to eliminate all of the things that provide financial benefit. And again, for us, I know there's clients that it does have value, but I do think where they're heading, it's a good thing. It's just don't take him at face value because he tends to talk in crazy talk, tech man stuff that our job is to interpret.
Yeah, tech evolves, marketing evolves, and we will evolve with you.
Yeah.
All right. My topic today, and people have mixed feelings about this and people not giving it enough coverage or nationally coverage and things like that. And there's a lot going on. It's not just Nebraska that's been affected by all this flooding stuff too. It's Iowa, it's Missouri, it's Kansas. All of these, rivers, creeks, tributaries, or as Jason likes to call them, cricks.
Crick. If you're in Nebraska, you call it a crick.
Yeah, they all lead into other states, and we were affected by the stuff that was going on in Colorado. In fact, our family was in Colorado last week, and so we were part of the big cyclone of 2019 and all that good stuff too. But major flooding happening in Nebraska. Lots of communities are literally completely underwater, even still right now. Lincoln, under water restrictions, saying no laundry, no dishwashers. Be very conscientious of how long your showers are, that sort of thing. Just water restrictions. In fact, a couple of our clients are kind of at a standstill even with their businesses as far as really even having to shut them down since what they do is dependent on water. But, I just want to bring up this topic because we have gotten some questions and just feedback in general from some clients saying, you know what, this is a huge deal to us. Either it's affecting our business directly to the point of even not being able to operate, or we want to somehow, incorporate giving back to Nebraska flood victims, that's communities, that sort of thing. What can we do to get involved? How can we participate? How can we build that awareness, whether it's on a national level, local level, etc., and not feed into some of the fears that are going around about water restrictions. That's never really happened in Lincoln. So that's freaking a lot of people out. What does this mean? Does it mean I have to go out and buy 5,000, cases of bottled water? Are they just going to turn everything off? I'm going to have nothing? No, that's not what it means. But anyway, I just wanted to kind of get your guys' feedback. I do have some things out there as far as ways that our businesses that we work with and other businesses out there can be part of the positive response to the situation. Thoughts from you guys?
Well, yesterday on the Generate Marketing page, I did share an article from 1011 News of how people can donate and help out. Check your sources that way.
And 1011 specifically is having that Nebraska Strong flood relief drive, March 20th through 21st, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. So there is an opportunity. They're saying stuff the semi. So they're looking for, and I know a lot of the communities are looking for very similar products. So things like, shovels, mops, buckets, just general cleaning supplies, garbage bags, towels, hygiene, toilet paper, baby items, all that stuff that we all take for granted has just been swept away. Literally, it's all gone.
Yeah, this is unprecedented. I mean, I think for us, you've lived in Nebraska your whole life, so have I. Holly's obviously from Kansas.
Obviously.
Sorry.
It's the creek thing, I guess. I don't
assume
know.
it's common knowledge. Sorry. But point is that, this is to me the first time in my life where it's forced me to say, whoa. Like I just stopped by Target. All the drinking fountains and all of they have sanitizer and they won't even let you run the water. So, that's a big deal.
Everyone's doing their part.
So to me, yes, I think we want to be a resource where if you're trying to find credible places to help out, I think that's always the thing is there's going to be people that take advantage of this, and we want to make sure that the people that need help are going to get the resources they need.
I think my little PSA, and I didn't really believe this until I saw it on Twitter from the Ashland Fire Department. I did go up to Omaha this weekend, and I did see some of the damage, and it was really eye-opening, like Jason said, being from here all your life. Like, you've heard of the Platte River, and I think some of those, like I-80, like all those major roadways that have been closed, like, you can visualize driving down them, and to see them underwater is just devastating in all the homes and communities. My biggest thing, and I shouldn't have to say this, but just don't go and look. I know the floods are interesting. You're just asking to get yourself into trouble. Let the rescue teams do their thing. The people that are volunteering, let them do their things. If you're just there to be a spectator, don't. You're getting in people's ways, and...
Well, and the barricades are there for a reason.
Thank you.
So, don't.
I feel like I should not be a PSA, but I'm not kidding you. Actually, shout out to, I think it was Nebraska Department of Roads put out a campaign that was like, it only takes 12 inches to sweep away a car. And that to me was like, yep, I'm staying away.
Well, and I know that's one of the biggest complaints of rescue workers is that they're having to rescue more people who are going around the barricades who were safe. Yeah. And they opted to go around them and try to ford the river, a little Oregon Trail stuff for you. And it didn't work out for them. No. Imagine that.
So, no. And in terms of the water restrictions in Lincoln, like I said, some of our clients it has affected. But just be understanding. Know that this will probably not last forever. We can all cut back a little bit. And just hopefully this puts into perspective to a lot of different people that life is very short and there are things that we probably take for granted, like really, water.
It could be a lot worse.
Yeah.
What if we were in those communities where they literally have lost everything? So, for us to cut back on water...
Hey, that's a pretty reasonable
request. All right. What do we got now, Deidre?
We're going to move on to our listener question. So the first one's not really a question. It's just something I wanted us to discuss as a team because last week, my world got turned upside down. Not only were you guys gone, I missed you so much, but Facebook and Instagram decided to just glitch. And this was a worldwide glitch. And I have the statement from Facebook, and they said on Twitter on March 14th that yesterday, as a result of a server configuration change, many people had trouble accessing our apps and services. We've now resolved the issues and our systems are recovering. We're very sorry for the inconvenience and appreciate everyone's patience. They also ruled out that it was not, I repeat, not a DDoS attack. It was hard, and I just remember I didn't want to bother you guys on vacation, but I had to let you know, I'm stranded. I have nothing,
It's happened before.
Yeah.
Those platforms touch so many people as far as communication and who uses them, and it is what it is. At the end of the day, these are companies, and just like sometimes we have glitches on our side or things that have to be down or repaired or whatever, updated for that matter. I've seen that with MailChimp numerous times, is that they're updating their system, so it will be down from, usually they'll say from this time to this time, but they let you know. But yeah, there are times where those little awesome WordPress updates or what have you, they just don't flush out the way they thought they would. And so there is nothing we can do on our end. We can just sit back and wait and be patient.
The bottom line is, and like you said, DDoS basically is a denial of service. So this is like a hacker. So all that means is this was not hacked. But if there's anything we know, like Gmail goes down, things like this. I mean, technology in essence usually always finds a way to break. I mean, you all know my dad's been in this for decades, so I've seen this multiple times. So it's nothing to panic about. But yeah, I mean, to me, it's like when we were in Colorado, all of a sudden we don't have internet. I realized that all of our music is streamed. So I can't even play music on my iPhone, which is extremely annoying.
First world problems.
Yeah.
No, and that's not a problem. But what it is, it just shows the dependency online is when we do it for everything
Yeah,
and
everything's in
something
the cloud.
breaks, then they're like, oh my gosh. I mean, honestly, if you can't survive without Facebook for 6 to 12 hours, you're probably kind of lame already.
No.
Your business isn't going to fail.
Yeah, you're
No.
going to be okay.
But, like, people who are just getting on there to see Farmville, I don't even know if that's still an app anymore. But, like, for me, like, there became a
Candy
point.
Crush.
Farmville.
There became a point where I was like, my job depends on these platforms working efficiently. And so I had to, like,
Yeah, it's definitely a different perspective, especially for,
yeah.
for someone like you who, is doing the social. But you didn't lose your job.
I didn't. I'm still here. Thank goodness. I made sure to let all our clients know, but it was definitely like the freakiest thing. You like it, yeah, that perspective of like tech is so great, but also can be turned
Well,
like it can just flip.
And like
Ugh.
I think the thing that frustrates me the most with some of those platforms, like Instagram and Facebook, in particular Facebook, who owns Instagram, they never notify people.
Never.
MailChimp, it will tell me we are going to have some downtime, or even Basecamp. I'm sorry, we're experiencing technical difficulties. Please bear with us. We really apologize. Facebook is just like, yeah.
No, Facebook, I don't think, released a statement
Yeah.
on Twitter, which I thought that to be divine intervention right there. I noticed trouble on my end at like 11:30 Central Standard Time. That was when it wasn't mid-morning, but, right in that time frame. And then
Yeah.
I was like, oh, it has to be me.
Yeah.
And then
And so, like,
found that it wasn't.
From our client perspective, and this is true for like even changes that happen behind the scenes on Facebook, we're never notified of them. We find out at the same time everybody else does as we are trying to use the technology.
Yeah.
So don't think that we have any sort of cutting edge information about any of these apps. We find out when everybody else does too. So that may seem strange, but it's true. Facebook is terrible about communicating.
Yeah,
So-
as far as every technology company out there, they are the worst. You cannot get a hold of a person. Even Google, you can get a hold of someone.
Yeah.
Microsoft, I can go on and on. But Facebook, man,
Next.
My next question, when's the best time to post content on social media?
that'd be Holly's department and yours too.
Yeah, I was going to say Deidre and I both.
So I feel, if I'm going to be honest with you, I've been in the industry not as long as you guys, but long enough that if there is one question that I get commonly asked, it's this one right here. This is Deidre's number one question that I get asked.
Well, okay. So I'm going to give you the tech answer, the analytical answer. And that is, as over the years, if we've, seen the platforms evolve, we've seen clients using it in different ways, different industries. There is one universal truth, and that is when you look at the insights for Facebook, for example, since we keep talking about Facebook, we'll just keep going. Basically, as long as you're posting between the hours of 8 a.m. and 8 p.m., you're pretty much covered. And the thing that's tough too, and that sometimes is hard to explain to people when they ask, and Deidre, I'm sure you can attest to this too, is that your end user's experience is entirely influenced by how they use the platform. What they like, what they follow, what they heart, all that stuff. So like the algorithms work in such a way that, yeah, you may have posted that day, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to come up in all of your users' feeds, okay? So a lot of it's highly dependent on your end user. And to be honest with you, this is why we preach consistency with social, is because you need to just be out there on a regular basis. If you're posting between 8 a.m. and 8 p.m., you are fine. You are dandy, okay? And you are probably going to get in front of 40 to 60% of your users that day, assuming that they scroll and they're looking through their feed. That is the short answer. Kind of long, but the short answer. It's complicated.
I've done a lot of research on it. I've read Business Insider, Adweek, all the research. And there is research to back, yes, certain times, like Wednesday morning at 9 a.m. Like, I know that. I've read the data, and I know for some people that is perfect. But what I tell our clients is most of the time I do plan out my social media, usually weekly or monthly. But I'm very flexible because, I mean, for example, look what happened in this last week. I can tell you right now when I'm posting on social media, if it has nothing to do with Nebraska flooding, it's not sticking. I mean, I'm just honest.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, there's some days I post in the morning and it sticks beautifully. Insights are great. There's sometimes I post at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Same. It really fluxes. And yeah, and that's probably the toughest thing to explain to people who aren't in this every day, is that Facebook's algorithm it's scary to a point, because like you said, if depends on what your end user likes, what they're doing that day, even when they're scrolling for how long, you know, I could post something at 9 a.m. and they could log on their phone at 9:01 and it's still not going to be the first thing they see. So,
And that's not even to speak of boosting
Oh.
or promoting.
Yeah.
We're not even covering any of that paid advertising that you can do as businesses on those platforms.
this is just organic.
This is just good old organic. I've posted today and I want to see what it's going to do. So that is a whole nother topic, which perhaps we should address on another day.
I just think that just being consistent and diversifying your content, have fun with it. Don't feel like you have to be to this structured schedule, you know? Have fun. Like I think
Have
that's
fun, but have a reason.
a purpose and why, but we'll have that discussion on another podcast. But yeah, no, I mean, just everything has a purpose.
It's all about engagement. I
Yes.
mean, that's the bottom line. That's what we measure. And if you struggle with that, that's why you need to ask us for help.
But on the flip side of that, don't be surprised if Wednesday at 4 o'clock you get like 50 likes one week, and then the next week you may get 3.
It's neither here nor there necessarily.
Yeah, like
I know.
it's.
It sounds, guys, that sounds super wishy-washy, and there is a science to this. But generally speaking, if this is something that you are doing for your business, or say you're at a small business and you are the marketing person, you're new to this, whatever the case is, just know that the best things you can do on social media is not only be on social, not every platform, be on the ones that make sense for your demographic and the market that you're targeting. And there are ways to figure that out, and we're happy to help with that too. And there's numerous articles out there. But then also, like we had just mentioned a bit ago, be consistent. If you're going to do it, do it. You need to get on there at least once a day and post something.
Yeah, that's what I
Period.
Drop the mic, but don't drop these mics.
It hurts yours.
All right, so now we're going to go into our question of the day, and this is where you guys get to know each of us a little bit better. So the question of the day is, what emojis do you often use? And you can do a top 3.
Top 3.
Holly, go for it.
We were just talking about this. Usually the ones you use the most are the ones that pop up, like your first set or first options when you bring up your keyboard. So I was looking at mine. Mine is definitely like the number one is the face that it's making kind of the gritted teeth, like, ooh, this is awkward or uncomfortable or I don't know. That face, that's the one. I mean, Jason laughs at that. Literally.
Boy, yep.
And then my next one is the thumbs up. That's when I like really don't want to spend time typing anything, but it's like all you need to do, I'm just acknowledging, thumbs up. And then my last one is the, well, according to this, it's the eye roll. But I have to say the other one that I use quite frequently is the winking one. So I am heavy, if people don't know me, in the dry humor and sarcasm. So like really all of those apply on some level to me.
Okay.
Jason.
So we're opposite, as you can imagine, being husband and wife. So my number one is, in most cases, because I've found that people don't pick up on subtleties over electronic. So I always put in the rosy smiley face. That's just kind of me trying to be Mr. Friendly Man.
And there's an argument out there that means like you're being bashful or embarrassed, but
Whatever. It doesn't matter. I don't care.
I don't know. I'd love to have people weigh in on that
Whatever.
one.
Sunglasses when I use. Prayer thankful, because I'm thankful. Pound it.
3. Top 3.
And then pound it. Okay. So I'd say then probably pound it over sunglasses.
Okay.
So my top 3, then in no particular order, but I definitely use the big smile, like that cheesy grin, a lot. I use the 2 pink hearts a lot, and then I always use the girl, and I picked the yellow. So I have the yellow face girls, yellow face, blonde hair, and who's got her, looks like her right hand up, like she's raising the roof, like, hey girl, that's. Oh, I use that one all the time on my tweets. Check it out. So yeah, no.
You can see my tweets at
Miss Deidre S. I'm not gonna spell my name, but that's where you can find it. So yeah, no, I Do you guys use emojis a lot to talk to each other?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean,
I just
I'm
looked up.
looking at my texting. I mean, I would say pretty much all of the texts have some sort of emoji, and I would say that's probably true for most everybody now.
I just looked up my emoji. It is not bashfulness. It's often express genuine happiness, warm and positive feelings.
What's your source for that?
Emojipedia.com.
Oh my lord, that is an actual website?
It is. I just
Of
googled it.
course,
So,
right?
so just as a, yeah, there you go.
I stand corrected.
That's all right. I was like, I hope I'm not coming across bashful. That's pretty terrible.
What's wrong with being bashful?
Well,
That's like my
just-
favorite dwarf, right? Isn't that
Yeah.
isn't that a Snow
Yeah, it
White
is.
dwarf?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so our final thought for all those who've been devastated by the floods, and like Holly mentioned, and I know on our Facebook, there are many ways that you can donate and help those who have been affected. Read those off.
Well, again, I think the biggest thing with donations and just giving in general is making sure that you're finding reputable organizations. Obviously, American Red Cross is always a good one. American Red Cross specifically of Nebraska and Southwest Iowa, those are good ones. Nebraska Humane Society in Omaha, there are a ton of animals, whether it's farm animals or even just pets, that have been displaced and are in need of housing and being reconnected with owners. And then United Way of the Midlands is another good one specifically that you can donate to. And then look within your immediate communities. Like I said, 1011's doing the drive. I know Hastings is doing some stuff, so is Grand Island. There's a bunch of communities that are doing things that are very centric to those locations. So that's another great resource that you can look at donating and figuring out even maybe more specific needs for those particular communities.
So, yeah, I encourage everyone to check that out. As always, though, you guys can find us on Facebook, Generate Marketing, and LinkedIn with the same name, Generate Marketing. On Instagram, we are Generate Lincoln, and that's GENR, the number 8, Lincoln.
Thanks for listening.
Thank you so much, everybody.
Thanks.